guys. Not messing around. Right into it. I can't hear you, Stephen. We'll just do that intro one more time.
I think we will, John. I don't know, can you hear me now?
I can hear you now, yes. Let's just go intro one more
Coming
time.
in loud and clear. Let's do this
Let's just run it again.
We are the ever professionals here, so we might as well do it proper. Let's not skim it. Let's not cut corners.
No.
Well, hello and welcome to this Tuesday's edition of Movie News here at MBE. We'd just like to thank you once again for joining us here on our YouTube channel and, of course, our Twitch stream. We had little gremlins in the works last night. We attempted to do this show twice last night, and the longest we went on the second attempt was 3 minutes, and we decided to do some trailer reactions anyway. Since there was a few Super Bowl ads, so we got in there, John, and we did it. So I'm joined, as always, with John C. Walsh on my left, on your right.
A.K.A. Uncle Fester.
We decided we were just going to carry on with our topics we were talking about last night, and we threw in a couple more in there that sort of interconnect as well. And it's all about what...
You're away again there, Stephen. Oh dear. It's not going very well. You went like a Dalek there, Stephen. The sound is gone. And your sound's gone, and my mic stand is not working. Wow, this is something else. I will do a be right back. There you go. I will try and do a be right back. Let's try one more time. Nope. Let's go to this screen. Be right back. We'll be right back, guys. And we're back!
Yeah, we're back, John. It's going swimmingly well, isn't it? WandaVision's Kat Dennings has filmed another Marvel project, but it's not Thor 4. How many times have I read this heading now in the last 2 days? It's Kat Dennings' arc in WandaVision will not be the last we see of Darcy. In the MCU, that is, but fans shouldn't expect to see her in Thor's Love and Thunder. Now, John, this is coming in from Screen Rant here, and just going to read a little bit of it. She was speaking with Extra. Dennings shared that she has indeed been a part of yet to be released Marvel undertakings. There are some things I've done for Marvel that are coming out that are not this, but I probably can't say. Although she couldn't provide details about these future things, she did note that she probably would not be appearing in Thor 4. We discussed that last week, John. While Dennings may not be swapping one-liners with Chris Hemsworth, her character has magnified the scope of WandaVision, acting as the entry point through which viewers can slowly learn about the mysterious objects of S.W.O.R.D. In the past few episodes, Lewis has spent much of her time with Agent Wu, who arrived on screen in Ant-Man and the Wasp as the FBI officer supervising Scott Lang's house arrest. The report has delighted both viewers and critics, inspiring calls for a Marvel spin-off featuring the two in an X-Files style mystery show where they can explore different extraterrestrial disturbances related to the multiverse, John. So what's your take on this? My take, briefly, is can't wait to see her more of Kat Dennings' character. It's unbelievable that it's been 10 years since we saw her in Thor, the original movie, and we've not seen her since until her appearance in episode 4, I think it was, episode 3 of WandaVision. So what's your take on this?
Stephen, as I did say, I'll go to me and give you a break. As I did say, I love the actor. I've loved her reintroduction into the Marvel Cinematic Universe in this very first foray into the medium of TV. So I've been enjoying the character and its interactions with Jimmy Woo, played by Randall Park. They are absolutely right what they say in this article, in that they have a great rapport. great chemistry, whatever adjective you want to put towards it. They certainly could be a Marvel Mulder and Scully, a Gillian Anderson, David Duchovny-esque duo, dynamic duo. And I would watch that TV show. I think that'd be great. A sort of X-Files meets Marvel would be an amazing little thing. We could have vampires coming in. We could maybe get Mahershala Ali, or variants of Blade characters popping into the story. It could be a chance to bring Jared Leto's Morbius in and investigate maybe a sort of X-Files mysterious vampire story. I don't know if that's something that could be done. I'd certainly like to see it. Also, I would also, as I did allude to in the thumbnails, like to see her maybe popping up as a superfluous, I can't speak, sort of side character in one of the bigger movies coming out in the next year or so, Spider-Man 3 or Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. Of course, you read that quote on the article and it does say that she's already filmed the stuff, so that would maybe rule out Multiverse of Madness. It's not yet shot, I don't think, a single thing in principal photography. Doesn't rule out Spider-Man 3 though, because it's already a good few months into production. They took a break for Christmas. I'd like to see her popping in as a sort of continuity role from WandaVision. This scientific figure that set the ball running with the events we've seen, she was able to tap into this cosmic background radiation, pop into this TV show and let us see what the hell was happening in this weird multiverse set up at Westview. I'd like to see her being a scientific human figure, allowing other characters who are not Avengers, who are not superheroes, to know what the hell is going on with this multiverse concept. That's a role she could maybe play. I don't know what they've got in mind for her, Stephen. I'm just looking forward to seeing her coming back again and again. We've seen it, I spoke about it, I think, in a show, how she's sadly not going to be in 4-4. That's a shame. She's great friends with Natalie Portman. She's a scientist figure. I think Jane's a scientist figure. She's in Mighty Thor now. She's left all her friends behind. She's like a rich person when they get stardom. They bugger off to LA and they leave all of their goon friends from childhood back in shithole Britain or something. That's what she's like. But look, I don't know what your thoughts are, Stephen, on the things I maybe threw in. Do you think she could appear in a movie?
Well, I think if anything, it would probably be Spider-Man 3, and it would be, I think, a very, very small role. There's a lot going on in that movie already with the cast, the massive cast that we're hearing about. A lot to be confirmed still, obviously, but I don't really see her fitting in, having a big part in that movie at all. I think her character is more suited to a television series, whether that be Falcon and the Winter Soldier. I doubt it will be that. I don't think her sort of remit
Loki's
really fits
a shout,
into
Stephen.
that. Loki's a good shout, John. I think, and obviously she's got connections there with obviously the first Thor movie as well, so it would make more sense for her to yeah, exactly. You know, I think that's where they're going with this character. She's going to be the sort of audience's representation whenever the multiverse sort of theme crops up in the MCU going forward.
Absolutely, Stephen. I'm going to come back to me. Back to the two of us, I should say. I'm sleepwalking there. Final thing I would say is I've just really enjoyed this bubbly sort of character coming back in. I want to see her teaming up with Jimmy Woo, as I did say. If it's not going to be in their very own TV show, I just like to see these guys in Sword being a sort of continuous presence throughout the TV side of things. But I don't want it. I don't want them going down the Defenders Netflix route where there's a clear distinction between the two. I want them to bleed in and out of movies, even if we're having little cameo roles to call back to some of the TV moments. I just cannot wait to see her coming back, and hopefully we're going to see more development for these more human scale characters in the MCU. It's not something we've seen a huge amount of. It's mostly been superhero characters. You've got Aunt May, you've got the likes of Happy Hogan, maybe Pepper Potts is it that Gwyneth Paltrow plays. They are human figures, but they are very closely attached to the likes of Tony Stark or Spider-Man. This Darcy character, not so much. She's just a scientist figure. So I'd like to see more development of this human sort of scale character, along with your traditional superheroes moving forward. And this may be a way to do it. Bring the likes of Dennings, someone that's worked with Marvel Disney before, who's an established figure in on a continuing basis. I don't know though, Stephen. Time will tell.
Yeah, time will tell, John. But we're going to stay on the WandaVision theme anyway. This was something that came in today, and it's Kevin Smith on his YouTube show. Kevin Smith has a Fantastic Four theory about WandaVision, and I'm here for it. That's the headline anyway, coming in from Cinema Blend. It's just a quote here from from Kevin Smith. In a recent episode of his Fat Man Beyond podcast, Kevin Smith explains that he thought an early dialogue exchange in the 4th episode of WandaVision could be meant to lay the groundwork. In the scene, Monica Rambeau is talking with the head of S.W.O.R.D. and he tells her that most of their space exploration is no longer being handled by humans. Yep. Smith suggested that this dialogue could be there to set the scene for whatever is being done with Fantastic Four. And according to Smith,
or it could be the
somewhere
or the Skrull, whatever they are.
Yeah, it could be. Well, I remember the dialogue, and I remember thinking that along that line as well, John. Yeah. I didn't actually think of the Fantastic Four, but Kevin Smith had this to say. Somewhere in there, it feels like the Fantastic Four lies, whether they're not going to send them into space, but instead go into the quantum realm or whatever fuck.
That's classic Kevin Smith, really, isn't it?
It no seems like that. An unnecessary scene until they really started looking at the dialogue. That was an unnecessary
fuck.
Not an unnecessary scene, but an unnecessary dialogue. Until you really start thinking about it, going like, wait a sec, maybe this is just sowing the seeds for that, like, what is manned mission for S.W.O.R.D.? And if so, is one of those missions sent the Fantastic Four into outer space? Fuck.
Absolutely, I couldn't say it better, Stephen. I couldn't say it better if I was Kevin Smith, and I couldn't say it better if I was you. Fuck. I love saying that word, and so does Kevin Smith. Stephen, this didn't cross my mind. This could be a potential way of introducing the Fantastic Four in. It could be a nice little origin story without giving us an origin story. It could be that they want to bypass it like perhaps they done with Tom Holland in Spider-Man Homecoming. I was about to say Far From Home. You don't get the traditional intro, the traditional origin story. It allows you just to dive right into these characters as established superheroes. They hit the ground running. The other reason this could work, Stephen, is because we did have Joe Russo, I think it was, come out fairly recently and say that the definitive Fantastic Four movie is yet to come. And I think the way he was speaking, it was rather pointed. I know that the Russo brothers are no longer part of Marvel Disney setup, but in theory, I think they're stepping away. They're doing the likes of Cherry with Tom Holland in different movies. But it was kind of pointed that we could be seeing a Fantastic Four movie coming very soon. Obviously not in Phase 4, but could be Phase 5 alongside the likes of Captain Marvel 2. This could be what they're doing. It could be laying the groundwork through S.W.O.R.D. in WandaVision. This organisation, manned missions, we know that Fantastic Four got their power from a sort of energy burst, I think it was. That could be a neat way to bring these characters into the MCU. Then when the story comes, the movie comes, you go right in to the action with these guys just wrecking the living shit out of people. Stephen, we're seeing this with WandaVision period. The mutants, talks of Magneto coming in at the end and maybe being Wanda Maximoff's father figure. It may be a I am your father, Luke, Darth Vader moment. This is an amazing little thing they've got going on here. If this is what's happening and people aren't reading too much into it, we're getting origins for X-Men, origins for Fantastic Four within the MCU, and they're doing it in a nice organic manner. I'd love to see it, man.
Yeah, John, ever since Disney took over Fox, this is what's happened. The theories and obviously potential storylines have cropped up, and this is probably one of the better ones, I've got to say, especially regarding the Fantastic Four. There is organic ways to do this, and I think you're right. We're not going to see them in the next phase. It will be beyond, but that's not to say that they won't plant the seeds now. Mm-hmm. I think WandaVision served very well, very much like the Mandalorian has for the Star Wars franchise as well. Yeah. I think it's a platform to really branch out into other sort of prospects, and I think with Marvel, they've got so much content, and they've got so much opportunities and options on how to introduce these franchises into the MCU organically. Mm-hmm. In an ideal world, it would have been great if Marvel had all these properties already: Spider-Man, Incredible Hulk, Fantastic Four, Deadpool. It would have been great.
I wonder how Deadpool's going to get introduced as well, Stephen. You mentioned that.
Yeah.
That's going to be a hard one, blending him in with the MCU, because he's a completely different...
Well, I think since WandaVision, John, was released, we're breaking fourth walls.
Yeah.
Laughter tracks, just the weirdness of it is really opening the doors for anything that's possible now, You look at the sort of rigidness of that first phase of the MCU with the traditional superheroes. We're such a far cry from that now. WandaVision, I think, has opened up. It's been the perfect vehicle to introduce the multiverse of madness in the next Doctor Strange film. And I'm guaranteed it's going to introduce some kind of clue to the mutants. It's going to introduce some clue to the Fantastic Four. It's going to introduce some clue to Deadpool as well. I don't just mean WandaVision, I mean the television series.
Stephen, I think Deadpool could come in Multiverse of Madness. It's an alternate reality. He's a very different character. That's how you get him into the MCU. Dr. Stephen Strange steps into that crazy world and unleashes a Pandora's box by bringing this guy back with him. So,
it would be amazing.
It would be. I can't wait to see Ryan Reynolds in the MCU, man. It's going to be dynamite. Absolute dynamite, man.
Yeah, I can't wait, John. But listen, we're going to move on anyway to our next topic. That was obviously a theory coming in from Kevin fucking Smith, and we're moving on to our next topic, and it's all about Jared fucking Leto, and it's his Joker and the Snyder Cut's redesign revealed in Justice League Images. This dropped 7 hours ago, John, apparently. I think it was much earlier, and I saw this last night, I'm sure, just after we came off air the second time, and this is coming in from Screen
Never on air.
It was terrible, wasn't it? But Jared Leto's full Joker look in Zack Snyder's upcoming Justice League cut has been revealed. Snyder's long-fought campaign to bring his vision of the DCEU to fruition is coming to a head, with the Snyder cut gearing up for a release on HBO Max in March. Originally meant to be a 4-hour miniseries, the film will now release as one long feature, and Snyder has some exciting surprises in store, including a previously teased new look for Joker. John, I never thought they were actually going to do this, a new look for Joker. I've got to be honest, I don't know what your thoughts are. I think he looks shit. I thought the first version of him looked shit as well. He looks like the Crow.
He does look like the Crow. He does, and he's not as cool as Brandon Lee, is he? Let's be honest. Steve, it's slightly better than the original. Slightly.
That's a wicket.
I mean slightly, because the original, of course, and of course, he's going to have green hair as well. We know that for sure. It's black and white. That's the whole black and white theme with Justice League. Of course, we've seen that with the trailer. It's minorly better, I think, than the original. It's slightly unmenacing looking. Don't get me wrong. He's tarted it up, his Zach, or the people involved with promotion and making it black and white. And I'll just bring it back up again. I'll use you, Stephen. You'll be on the screen with us week.
Dare I say it? He looks like Marilyn Manson.
Oh, that's dirty. We don't want to speak about Marilyn Manson just now. He is apparently an absolute wronging. He's been abusing and doing a lot of crazy shit over the last couple of years or so, and people are coming out and nailing them to the cross now. It's slightly menacing at obviously this shot, this sort of narrow room. It looks like an insane asylum. This guy is dressed in clothes that I wouldn't imagine I've got any connection with an insane asylum. But
looks fish stained.
It does look fish stained. But Stephen,
looks like Grandpa Joe.
It does. He puts me in mind of something. You know what it is? It puts me in mind of the guy from Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, the old grandfather.
Yeah, Grandpa Joe.
Is that him? Is that the same guy? There you go. You've nailed it, Stephen. Unbelievable. It does. Great minds think alike. I don't know the character's name. You do. And I was thinking along the same wavelength. He does. He looks slightly pissed, dare I say it, as though he's been bedridden for about 20 years. He's just needing Willy Wonka's golden ticket to snap back out of it. And I'm sure he'll get that golden ticket in Justice League by maybe Bruce Wayne calling him out or something over Robin. Stephen, you're right though what you say. There's something about Jared Leto. He just doesn't seem to fit with Joker. No. He's an amazing actor. I'm sure we're going to see that in the little thing.
I think he's an amazing actor as well. It just doesn't fit.
It just doesn't fit. And clearly Warner Brothers identified that it didn't fit. That's why they brought Joaquin Phoenix in and completely slapped him about with a sort of wet fish across the chops. They put Joaquin in. He won the Oscar. This guy's been left out in the cold. Zack Snyder clearly brought him in. Want to throw him a little bone. Yeah. It looks a little bit better. Oh, there's my light going again. That's Jared Leto haunting me for the other side. I'll deal with that, Steve, and I'm sure I will. I'll go to you while I switch this light off. Speaking about shit, this is shit, man.
Yeah.
Wow.
John, it's all these little minor changes that are going to make a difference, though, for the Snyder Cut, I feel. You know, when you get the sort of black suited Superman, for instance, you know, it's It's just those little touches that are sort of making that difference to me anyway.
But what's he going to do?
Once we see this this cut, we'll know all the differences. But I don't know what he's going to do, John. This is the thing, where does he fit in the story?
Is it the nightmare? Is it a nightmare sequence?
I would hope so. That would be cool. Yeah, I've never thought of that. That would be pretty cool.
There's no explanation for why his appearance has changed. I know time will probably have passed since the Suicide Squad, but did this guy not? Was he not involved in a helicopter crash during Suicide Squad? How did he come out with not even a nick and keep his hair?
I think it might be a nightmare then, John. Yeah. Something that happened in the past. That's a good call, actually.
But man, I just hope Jared brings his A game. I hope he somehow justifies his inclusion and redeems getting cut out of Suicide Squad and becoming the romantic sort of bitch side plot for Harley Quinn, because that was a joke. But hey ho, I don't really care.
Awesome. It's good to see anyway, and we'll look forward to obviously seeing this cut. Hopefully at some point. Don't know how we're going to get to see it. It's on HBO Max, which we don't get, but it probably will be Sky Atlantic or something like that. I'm not really sure. It'll be our box office. It'll probably be on Sky box office.
If Rupert
can pay-per-view thing.
Yeah, if Rupert can get more money out of you, then he will. A little shithead.
Yeah, certainly. But anyway, we're going to move on to our next topic, John, and it's all about how the Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 will be like Disney Plus's The Mandalorian. This coming in from Cinema Blend once more, and I'm just going to highlight a little bit of this now. I did have it highlighted. I've lost the highlight now, but this is all based on the technology that they've been using. John Favreau's been using with Industrial Light and Magic, and it's Disney Plus's The Mandalorian. Not only brought the Star Wars universe and stunning live action to streaming, John Favreau and Industrial Light and Magic have been revolutionising sets with some incredible technology that levels up the typical green and blue screens major Disney productions like Avengers Endgame use with their actors. And according to Guardians of the Galaxy's Volume 3's James Gunn, the upcoming MCU film will use some of its new tech. On the set of The Mandalorian, the production implemented the use of background screen technology that can replace green and blue screens on a set, along with using puppetry for Baby Yoda. LED screens that display backgrounds pre-made and a video game engine allows actors to see their surroundings they are interacting with instead of completely imagining it on their own. That was the problem with the likes of Attack of the Clones, John, which was one of the very first films shot completely in digital, and asking new actors, the likes of Hayden Christensen, who wasn't an established actor at the time, to pretend he had surroundings, pretend he was interacting with other characters. It's a tall order for someone that's not used to that. And then you've got the traditional actors like Christopher Lee asking him to do that as well, which is an insult to the man's intellect and talent. But while James Gunn was doing a Twitter Q&A this week, the filmmaker said he is planning to use this technology on Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 where it fits in the production. The upcoming Marvel movie will not be completely LED production, either because it's wildly expensive or it's fairly new tech to the director. But either way, Gunn's answer is a really exciting development for the space adventure. The technology began its development on Jon Favreau's The Jungle Book and was forwarded on his photorealistic version of The Lion King from 2019. The LED screens used on The Mandalorian reportedly made the lighting better, the filming process smoother, and production for the visual effects crew cheaper per insider. And you can learn more about this technology here. Well, I'm not going to do that, John, because I've actually watched some of I saw the Mandalorian stuff that was on Disney Plus. The behind-the-scenes stuff was fantastic, very fascinating. Jon Favreau is at the forefront of all this technology at the moment, John, and that's why Lucasfilm are lucky to have that guy on board. They're lucky to have him as part of that team. You don't want to upset the apple cart with a Jon Favreau type, because he is bringing this technology. He is the man between Lucasfilm and ILM. He is the sort of bridge between them, you know.
Stephen, he's a necessary figure as well, and that's why I'm so glad that he is looking to be part of Lucasfilm moving forward. Hopefully the new president, him working in tandem with Dave Filoni. This guy's introduced this technology into the Mandalorian production, and you can really see that it's helping the likes of a Pedro Pascal, the likes of a Gina Carano, a Giancarlo Esposito. being in these fantastical sort of settings, these landscapes, living and breathing it through these big, huge screens that envelop the actor, that can only aid the performance. As you did say, the likes of Hayden Christensen, Ewan McGregor, Christopher Lee, they had to work with blue, shitty, green, whatever colour it was, backgrounds, everything was green. You had basic set designs around about it. That must be terrible to act to. Could you imagine getting up at 5 in the morning, getting on to set to act to that shit all day long with whatever the hell his name was, it done Jar Jar Binks jumping around with this thing on top of his head? You'd want to tan your wrists, man. It'd be terrible.
I'm at best. Yeah.
I'm at best. What a ridiculously boring experience that would be going to the set. And look, I understand George was trying to be revolutionary. He was trying to up the game after seeing what Spielberg done with Jurassic Park, but Spielberg never even done that on Jurassic Park, Stephen. He utilised very basic effects, visual effects with the darkness, putting the little glints on the dinosaurs and stuff like that. It was basic visual effects on a practical set. George took it too far. They've had to rein it back now. We've seen it with Nolan. He hates using VFX. He only wants to add it in to enhance what's already there. He wants his actors living and breathing on the set, so much so he's flying or running jumbo jets into actual airports in Helsinki. It makes the actor's life better. Your performances are better. This is why this is great, this technology, and I want to see this getting used throughout. It must be safer as well, Stephen, during the pandemic era.
So,
To be going onto the set. You don't have to go out to location and risk picking up a virus and maybe infecting the whole crew and obviously cast, and then you're putting a delay on the production. We need to see this getting rolled out. And as you did say, Favreau is just the man. I still can't believe the Jungle Book from 2016, whatever year it was all animated. Unbelievable effects.
Stunning film, John.
Ridiculous.
It was, and it's been tried and tested now, and I think James Gunn is onto this, and I think he's not going to overuse it, as it says in the article anyway, but I think for some sequences, especially with Guardians of the Galaxy, we got a lot of sort of space sort of sequences. I think that's where it may fit into it, previously on Volume 1 and 2, I think the space sort of scenarios were handled really well. That's just the talents of James Gunn. Volume 2 had that funny sort of the warp speed thing going on, and their faces contorting and stuff like that, which was very funny to see. Yeah. Exactly.
End up outside the ship crashing through trees. I was killing myself in the theatre at that. Killing myself.
But I think
unbelievable.
He's got a talented bunch of actors to work with anyway, and he knows he can trust them with this technology and utilise it to its best potential anyway. But I think it's great. I think it's the way forward as well. I think eventually, the technology will become cheaper to use in productions, and we will move away from the blue screen and the green screen, which served its purpose for the best part of 50 years, John. I don't think we appreciate it as much as we did, but, without that, you don't get Star Wars, you don't get Superman, the movie, etc. It's dated now, but it was a necessary evil at the time.
And Stephen, final thing I'd add, it's nice to see the two sort of primary pioneering figures for this technology on the set and film making. Spielberg, or not a Spielberg, a James Cameron and a Jon Favreau, both want to have living, breathing, practical sets with this enhancing the experience. James Cameron, he's building ridiculous sets over in New Zealand for Avatar. Actors under the pool for 8 minutes, Kate Winslet, and Favreau doing this. It's great to see that they're stepping away from this. It can only be good for everybody involved, man. So, happy days for me.
Yeah, happy days, John. But we're just going to round up the show with our final topic, and it's Dune's Zendaya reveals her favourite part of working with co-star Timothee Chalamet. This is coming in from Cinema Blend once more, John, and I'll just read a little bit of this. And it was when she was a guest on The Late Show with Stephen Colbert. Colbert, I don't know how to say his name, Colbert. Zendaya talked about how much she is geeking out like everyone else about getting to see the movie on the big screen later this year, just like we are. She also spoke about getting to know Chalamet on production. In her words, he's become one of my closest friends and he's lovely and so talented. I think my favourite part was when we would have these like dance parties in my room where I would leave the door open. Timothy would come in with his little speaker. Is that what you call it? And then everyone would start coming in and we just start dancing. It sounds like Timothée Chalamet brought the party to the set in between shooting, and it was a blast for Zendaya and the rest of the cast. The two have become really come up in the Hollywood in the past few years, especially with some highly praised projects each of them have been part of. Apparently, a lot of the cast was included in these Dune dance parties too, as Zendaya continued. Listen, Javier Bardem peaked it. He was grooving. I was like, okay, Javier. He had the moves. I was very impressed. I would have loved to have seen that now. I would have paid money to see Javier Bardem dancing in one of these, in between shoots.
You know how I picture Javier and Timothee? With the hair first and foremost, bouncing about. But I don't know if you recall the news guy, the sort of politics guy getting interviewed from his house, and the little kid came in.
The nanny.
The nanny was on the ground, and the little baby and the bouncer thing came through the door bouncing. Timothee was the first kid coming in. He's setting the party. And Javier is the little baby bouncing in. That's picture it. That'd be amazing, man. That feels. I don't know why I'm saying it feels. That sounds like a great time, man. Look, man, I love Timothee Chalamet. Everything I hear about this guy, he sounds like a great dude. He's cool as hell. He wears cool clothes. An amazing actor. He comes from, I think, West Side Village. I think you call it that. Where Bob Dylan was hanging around in New York. It's a real sort of artist district in New York. They all have that vibe to them. This guy's cool as hell. You see it, man. He's walking around with the coolest mask in the coronavirus sort of pandemic. He's just a cool dude. The fact he's bringing in sort of, I don't know, parties into this room, man. He's dancing about, man. It sounds good to me. And again, it can only aid the actual chemistry and the performances we're going to get on the Dune set. Because if you're having a good time with your co-stars, it's going to show itself on the actual performances. If you're enjoying the process, you've seen some of these actors who hated the process, and it made the experience and the acting performance all the shitter. So,
John, talk about the cast. As well as Zendaya, Javier Bardem, and Timothée Chalamet, you've got Jason Momoa in there, Josh Brolin, Oscar Isaac, Dave Bautista, Stellan Skarsgård, and Charlotte Rampling as well.
Fantastic.
The film itself was always going to be massive anyway, but when you've got that calibre of cast coming in as well, it's just we should have seen this film by now. That's right,
December,
isn't it? It was supposed to come out at the end of last year.
December 7th.
And it's just it'll probably will be the end of this year now before we see it. But I'm looking forward to it, and it's great to see these sort of things coming through on our newsfeed. With the cast and crew.
Yep.
When Zendaya and Timothée Chalamet were casting this, I got the feeling those two would get on great. Very much like Tom Holland and Zendaya got on great in the Spider-Man set as well. I think she's just a very likeable person to begin with. I think she's a very easy person as well. She's not full of herself.
No.
She's very down to earth. If you've ever seen any of her interviews.
Yeah.
And she's got a lot of time for her fans as well. And very much same with Timothée Chalamet as well. A very down to earth lad.
Steve, they're both young. They're both young.
Yeah,
actors,
they're going through the
go
experience together, and I think that's important as well. I think that's why they've connected well.
Absolutely, Steve. Look, I cannot wait to see Dune. Cannot wait to see Denis whisking us off to this desert planet with huge sandworms. I was about to say snow again. I don't know why it's in a desert. Anyone that watched my reaction video would have seen that I called it desert worms and then snow worms. Wow, I was heavy hitting the crack that night. I'm looking forward to it, man, because every sort of adaptation we've had to date has been shit, and it's a very, very impressive group of novels from Frank Herbert, so hopefully we're going to get the definitive version. But look, that's going to round it up, Stephen. Unless you have anything to add, I'm going to round it up. What is your thoughts on the array of topics we touched upon on the show tonight? What do you make about Kat Dennings working on a new project for Marvel, a mysterious project? What do you think it could be? Could it be an X-Files style show with Jimmy Woo? What the hell? Or Randall Park, that's his character's name. Could it be a movie? Could it be another TV show, Loki? What's your thoughts on that? What the hell do you make about Kevin Smith toying with the idea of a Fantastic Four Origins being teased in WandaVision? What do you make about the other topics? The shit Jared Leto Joker photos? You can comment down below if you have anything to say at all. You can also like the video if you've enjoyed it. Hit the follow button on Twitch and subscribe to the channel on YouTube if you want to see more content like this in the future, and you will truly get it if you do. But look, guys, we're done here, so I'm just going to be short and sweet. Bye-bye.